evidence and arguments that ultimately settled the question. We're pretty sure now that continental drift is a real thing,
Mhm.
however unintuitive it seems. What really pushed them was their ability to kind of believe, to have a kind of a faith in their
Right.
theory that, as I say, went beyond what any kind of reasonable neutral observer would probably have given the evidence.
Which goes back to two things could be at right at the same time. And even if there's people that believe in a certain religion and will disagree that the continental drift is fake, that they what is it that the earth was created in 90 days or something like that. So they're really stuck in that belief, but even if that might be true to them, it does not necessarily disprove what they're shown, because even though that's a little bit too or a bit harder to prove that the earth was created in 90 days, because one of my favorite classes in college was anthropology, and was the study of evolution and how societies evolved over time, and just how different bone shapes changed, and depending on your environment, that's kind of like the form that people took. So that could happen, or was able to happen over many, many, many years. So to me, that's kind of what I bring to be true. But some people feel attacked because when you prove them with facts for a certain something, you're basically making them feel like they're wrong, and they get defensive about it. And I think that's caused a lot of infighting, especially within this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a different kind of phenomenon, I think. I mean, in a way, a more important one. You started out talking about the flat earthers, and there it's not like there was some pre-existing group of people who had a real serious, deep commitment to the Earth's being flat. It's more like they didn't believe it to begin with, and the craziness of the position attracted them, right? But with
Mhm.
something like religion, people really do start out with deep and beliefs that matter a huge amount to them, and so it's first of all, very natural for them to demand a lot of evidence
Mhm.
before they abandon those beliefs, um, or modify in a way the commitments of their faith. A lot of the reaction of most religions in modern times to scientific discoveries has been to say, well, actually, that's pretty compatible with what we said. So if the Bible says the world was created in 7 days, well, of course, we're never supposed to take that literally. It's a narrative that communicates the majesty of God's creation, not a literal chronology that
Mhm.
is supposed to tell you exactly what came along on Thursday. Um, uh, and likewise with the theory of evolution, um, it's it's not incompatible with the idea that there's a God who created the world, that things evolved through evolution. Maybe that's the way that God decided to do things. Not just make it all at once, but have it grow slowly out of something simpler. And so there are these two. I see these rather than sort of a
Mhm.
sort of straight up clash between science and religion. You have this sort of a kind of adjustment. Um, I mean, some people will always think that science has just pulled the rug out from religion's feet, but it's
Mhm.
more complicated than that.
Yeah, because like a trend that I'm starting to see now is some people are turning towards religion to answer the gaps in questions that we have about the world. A lot of coincidences that have happened and we just can't explain. And,
Mhm.
you know, at least that's what I stick with, that two things could be true at the same time. There's the other famous quote, to be or not to be. And a lot of things, when it comes especially to philosophy, just confuse me because it depends. Like a lot of the literature that we have, a lot of it really has to be it depends. It's really up to the reader to make up their own mind, and these are just the questions that I'm putting out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gaps in our
Mhm.
knowledge of the world still, however effective science may be, or there's still these controversies where there's plenty of science, but it's not clear exactly where it's putting. So there's a lot of scope for people to continue to be uncertain. And then there's just certain kinds of questions where it seems like science is not going to offer any answers. I mean, it may tell us some relevant stuff, but if you want to
Mhm.
know how to live your life, it seems like religion is a much better place to look, or philosophy for that matter, than science.